Alright, here we go. I really gotta get... Wish I had something to lean against. Maybe like a beanbag chair or something. So here we are again, doing this week again. I don't have my cell phone with me, so I won't be looking up on that like I was last week. That was a fucking just awful mess. I was ill prepared for that. Better prepared this week. Alright, so what is this, in case you were wondering if you're actually watching or if you're somebody new? This is what I have come to call now weekend reading. Why is it called weekend reading? It seems like a weird choice considering you're filming this on a Wednesday. True. But I won't be releasing it until a Friday, so we'll be right on the weekend. As for why it's called weekend reading, it's because what it is. It's basically talking about what I'm reading on the weekend. As you can see from everything beside me, behind me, and things even you can't see over in the corner. Oh, actually you can see that pretty well. Oh, didn't realize that. I'm a bit of a comic book aficionado, I guess you would say, even though those are technically graphic novels, not actually comic books, but essentially the same thing, so let's not quibble over technicalities. Every Friday, what I like to do is I go do my laundry and my grocery shopping, so that way I have any major chores that I need taken care of done for the weekend. Those are my two major chores for the week, as I'm sure they are for most people. And the grocery shopping, the grocery store is right next to the laundromat. So what I do is I put everything in the wash, then I split the load in two and put it in the dryer. And why am I telling you this? Because I'm just describing I'm just describing the process I have going here. Just work with me, you'll understand. While it's in the dryer, I go do my grocery shopping, and then when I come back, at least one of the loads is done. I fold it, and then the other load will be done. I fold that, and then I head home, and it's all done. While it's in the wash, though, I don't really have anything to do. It's nearly a half an hour in the wash. So I sit there and I read comic books, and I don't. Here's why it's interesting, because it's not interesting. But what I do is I go to the comic book store every Wednesday. That's when new comic books come out, and I go and pick up what I have pre-ordered. Usually it's a handful of stuff. Usually on Friday I'll take 3. But it's not what I got that Wednesday. I'm so backlogged with stuff that I don't actually read what I read on that Wednesday. Like what I got this Wednesday, I got like 5 different things, and that'll be I'll start reading them like 2 weeks from now. So what I'm reading this weekend is something I got 2 weeks ago. What I read last weekend is stuff that I got 3 weeks ago. So basically I'm just here describing what I'm reading this weekend, who wrote it, why I'm interested in it, and which one I think will be the best one. And something I didn't do last week because I just started this, but I'll be doing this week, I'll actually be covering which one I thought was the best one from last week. So let's start with that. Last week I had Shang-Chi Volume 1, Brothers and Sisters, by Yang and Ruan. And that was the one I considered to be the most interesting. It was okay, but it wasn't the most interesting. It started off good enough, but it feels like a comic book that won't last that long. Something that's just being pushed because there's an interest in him right now because they have a movie coming out. I mean, the art was fine and everything, but I don't know. Shang-Chi has never been a character that has been able to stand the test of time in the comics. So we'll see how he does in the movies. The movies can be a very different matter, and because if there's movie popularity, they can definitely push a comic book on that. But something tells me that this is a series that won't necessarily last, but I could be wrong. So we'll see. That was not the most interesting one. What ended up being the most interesting one was this one. Justice League Odyssey Volume 4, Last Stand. I did not realize this was the end of this series. That's how little I've been keeping track of things. But it was the end of the story, and the whole story was very good. This one's by Dan Abnett and Will Conrad. A very good story, consistently good art. I really enjoy Conrad's art. It has a very old, sort of 70s or 80s like English comics feel, very crisp and clean. It's very nice. I should put in like should see if I could find clips of the art from this comic book and like put it in, splice it in. Maybe I'll try that. I got 2 days until I put this out. Maybe that's something to do. Like I said, I'm still working on this. I'm just making this shit up as I go, if you haven't been able to tell. But yeah, this was definitely the better read from the week. A good ending to a good series. It made fine use of a bunch of side characters who, most of which are not that prominent. Cyborg and Starfire, probably the most prominent characters, and even then, they're still just B-level characters at best. I mean, if I said Green Lantern, people would probably know who I'm talking about, but they probably think of a different person. This is a completely different Green Lantern who most people haven't heard of. They probably don't even know there is a female Green Lantern. And Azrael, if you're not a major Batman fan, probably have no idea who the fuck that is. But other than that, and you definitely know who the cat is. That's a whole other story. But yeah, solid read. Justice League Odyssey, Volume 4, Last Stand. That was the pick of the week. That ended up being so against my expectations. That was last week. Let's talk about what I'm going to be reading this Friday and which one I think will be the one that stands out the most. Alright. We have Rat Queens, Volume 8, The God Dilemma. This has been a consistently by Ferrier, Moritat. Jesus. Yeah, Ryan Ferrier. Jesus, they don't even put their fucking full names. Moritat, Casey, and Silver. I don't know, the art, the people who do the art is like all over the place here. There's like 3 different artists on this. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's like 5 different artists. Wait, is that his name? Moritat, Casey. Oh no, Moritat and Casey Silver. So Moritat is just one name, like Madonna or Cher, I guess. There are artists like that. Moritat, Casey Silver, Priscilla Petrates, and Marco Lesko. So like 4 different artists on this book. So the art is going to be all over the place. But the writing of this book has been pretty consistent. I think Ferrier is the one who's been doing it all the way through. I might be wrong about that. Yeah, I think I actually am wrong about that. But yeah, it hasn't been a consistent writer either. Yet the story has still been pretty good. It's kind of like supposed to be set in sort of a D&D type universe of different creatures and people with magical abilities and mystical creatures set in a medieval type setting, and they go on quests and stuff. But it's about the Rat Queen. This particular group that goes on a quest is called the Rat Queens, and they're sort of they have a modernish feel to them and their attitudes and everything like that. So it's just an interesting take. It's been a pretty good read so far, but I don't know. It's been something that it's kind of hard to follow because there's been like no real like major main story. So I don't know if this one will be this one will probably just be a good read, but this one won't be the pick of the week. The Batman Who Laughs by Scott Snyder and Jock. See, once again, a one-named artist. He just goes by the name Jock. But good artist. Nice, clean lines. Has a very 90s-ish feel. There are a lot of artists who did. I might actually be thinking of this guy now that I think about it, but sort of that almost. I don't want to say sloppy, but that's kind of what it looks like, a sloppier art style, kind of. But it's a clean sloppy, if that makes any sense. It's basically telling the story of the Batman Who Laughs. If you don't know who the Batman Who Laughs is, you haven't been paying attention to DC comic books. He's basically an evil Batman from another universe. He's a Batman who also became the Joker, if that makes any sense. And it's basically, this is telling, he's become a big villain, in the DC Comics recently, and basically this tells his origin story. This one seems good. I have been enjoying this comes from the whole Dark Knight's Metal storyline that they've been pushing in DC for the past couple of years. I've been very much enjoying that stuff. I look forward to this, but this still isn't the one I've been looking forward to the most. This isn't the one I think will be the best one. This is the one I think will be the best one. This is Event Leviathan by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. Or Maleev. It's probably Maleev. Maleev's art, very good. Has a very clean line, modern take. I like it a lot. I don't even know if that's a proper term to do. But yeah. Anywho, yeah, that's probably clean line, modern take. I don't know what the fuck. Actually, this looks like it's done by several different artists too. Or Alex Maleev is very good at making his art look like other. Let me look at this. Yeah, it also looks like this looks like it's all done by several different people. This seems like a combination of different things. It might be, but it looks like it's several different. Even though Bendis and Maleev, they're probably like the main guys. Yeah, it's definitely different artists. Let's see. Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev are the main writer-artist team, but it's also, in terms of writers, they also have Greg Rucka, Matt Fraction, and Mark Andreyko, who are all solid writers. Trying not to use that word so much after last week. They're all good writers. There's all very good work. If you see their names as writers on a book, it's probably worth a read. You're probably not going to be disappointed by it. Alex Maleev, Yannick Paquette, Mike Perkins, Steve Lieber, Eduardo Penzica, and Julio Ferreira are the artists. I'm familiar with some of those guys from the looks of things. All the art looks pretty good, though. Maleev's art is actually kind of that, it's kind of like that sort of like nice sloppy that I was talking about, kind of like Jock's. So, but it makes for a very interesting look. Anyways, yeah, this is definitely the book I've been looking forward to the most because it's finally covering this big event that they built up in the DC Comics for a while, but it took forever for this thing to come out. And I've been looking forward to seeing what the conclusion of it was, because it's kind of one of those things that they talk about in the other books. It comes up a little bit and then just kind of goes away. You're like, okay, well, what happened? And there's been no conclusion to that. So I definitely want to see what happens. So this is my pick of the week. This is my pick for what I think will be the best of the week, Event Leviathan. And plus, it's kind of like a spy book shit, and I always like that shit. I always like that spy, clandestine, government organizations, terrorist, spy group shit. It makes for interesting storytelling, at least in my opinion. Maybe some people disagree. So, yeah. So, covering again, Rat Queens, probably be good. The Batman Who Laughs should be a good read. Looking forward to it, but still not my most expected. Event Leviathan. That is my pick of the week for what I think will be my favorite. But I won't know until I read them. And I'll be reading them over the weekend. When I'm in the laundromat, I'll be lucky if I get through. Rat Queens will be the first one I read. I'm a save the best for last type guy. So that'll be the first one I read. We'll see if I actually get through it at the laundromat. If not, I'll probably come home and read it later that night. I usually read these things just before I go to bed, and that's why I end up going to bed so late on the weekends, because I get caught up reading them. I mean, you see some of these, they're thick as fuck. It might take actually a real while to fucking read them. But yeah, that is my weekend reading for this week. I've been thinking more about putting more production into these, putting more art, maybe even trying to put some music into the beginning of the intros a little bit. Just a little, like, not like major music, of course, but like just a little intro background music so these don't seem quite so dull. We'll see if I do. It's something I gotta look into. I'm not looking to make, like I said, this won't be released until Friday, so I'm not looking to make this right away. I'm also been thinking about maybe doing more comic book related shit. Maybe not necessarily associated. Maybe I'll include it in the weekend reading. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I got to think that one through a little bit. Maybe it's just a maybe sort of just complaints and questions I have about the certain comic books or the comic book industry in general. I don't know. I'm still mulling that one over. There's one. I want to think up a little bit more production for that one before I actually go about doing it. We'll see. I think this is good. I think that's a good amount of time for what it is that I'm doing here. I'm not even sure if this is this interesting. Like I said, I mostly do this for me. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Honestly, nobody's watching this shit. So, well, except for maybe one person, but that's about it. Maybe somebody more will watch it someday. I have no idea. I don't know. But until, like I said, I'm mostly just doing this for me. It kills time. It gives me something to do. It gives me something to plan for. Lord knows I need that right now. We'll cover the problems of this week on Friday. That video I'll actually make and release on Friday. But until then, that's what I'm not gonna catchphrase this shit. Fuck that. That's weekend reading. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one, folks. Till next time.